Good morning, good morning. I'm gonna close the door. That's it. There you go. Now, good morning. Good morning. Will I just put this around as well? Hang on. Because this camera is my phone as it goes. Okay, here we go. Let's see if you'll be able to see me. Can you see me? Or did you just see the ceiling, is it? From here. Yeah. Now, good morning. It is the 12th of May. Day 41. From here to Jerusalem. My broken bread and some cheese. I've got a hangover. It's been a while since I've had a hangover. Where did I let off? Last day I was talking to you guys was in Lowtown. Right, I know, I remember. Okay. Yeah. A few days, no updates. I'm Anja. Sean Harpist standing behind me. And together we are the Flouting Harper. And we are walking, one foot in front of the other, from West Cork to Jerusalem. Yeah. And on day 38, we arrived in Lowtown. Lowtown is the point where the old barrow line meets the Grand Canal, which I was going to walk over into Dublin. We started out at first in West Cork, thinking that we would walk actually through Baltinglass, where I'm now, or more this direction, like Wicklow Mountains. And then I made a decision in Waterford that wasn't going to happen. Now, I took a lift from Clonmel to Waterford. That was the big thing. That I didn't walk that section. But I had a lot of issues with my feet, and I tell you what, like, I've done enough walking now again in Dublin to make up for, there's always enough to make up for the things that you missed. So, in Waterford, I changed shoes, and I also decided to change route. Walked up to the Barrow Way, and walked along the Barrow Way and ended up in Lowtown. The bit in Lowtown was organized by Tom. Tom I had met in Clonmel. He's a nurse, he's a nurse who works in a project for ex-addicts. It's called, can I think of it now? Dara. I think it is. And that's how it's a day project by the HSE to help those who've struggled with addiction and who've done their 12-step program to try and find a way back into society. And what was very striking is that Tom, although he is working and he's doing amazing work, does not have enough money to rent a house. That was actually really heartbreaking to hear. and sea. So in a thigh, we spent some time together, played music. I had a couch there. And there is this man who cannot afford to live in a house, and he is organizing beds for a pilgrim on our way to Jerusalem. It was very, very touching. Very touching. Like a truly, genuinely warm-hearted soul. And I don't know. I don't make decisions on policy, and I don't do politics, really. And I suppose this is the reason why I don't do politics. I mean, how do politicians get up in the morning? Like, how can you live with yourself when you know that this kind of stuff is going on in the world? It's shameful. It really is shameful. Yeah, so I walked to Lowtown. It was a lovely, lovely walk, where there was a little bit in my head, this talk of, that people had been telling me that the Grand Canal was too dangerous to walk into Dublin ever. And then when I came to Lowtown, that was repeated again. I stayed with Jerry and Helen, and they'd organized that I could stay in the old boatyard building. I had no electricity, but I had water. They were very, very kind to me. They cooked me dinner, and I got up in the morning, and it was, I slept there. They made me a fire, and there was heat, and they gave me warm water, and I had a bird bath and soaked my feet, and I was truly looked after, like really old-fashioned pilgrim looked after. And in the morning I woke up, and Jerry invited me back over to the boat. And when I stepped onto the boat, I looked into the canal, and it was like a big, big aquarium. Like there were fish everywhere, like big ones, small ones. And it was busy. Now, of course, fish live off, what is left over, stuff that lives in the water. It was amazing. Like it was amazing. The sun was shining, and I'm getting toast, avocado, and organic eggs, and it was just wonderful. And then they had to leave, and I packed because Helen was going to work in Dublin, and they said if I get stuck, to call, and they would come and pick me up. And I set off at around 10, I think, 10:30. I felt a little bit emotional leaving there, because it was so warm. The whole thing was so warm. And I stopped to talk to Dermot, one of their neighbors. Turns out Dermot actually is from my way out in West Cork. And he had been exhibiting in Skull, and he had done the course out in the art course out on the island. And we had a really lovely chat. And then when I walk away, I'm thinking, oh, Anja, here you go again. You're late leaving. Day 39, off you go. Day 38, was it? Yeah. So I leave, and I walk towards Robertstown, which is on the canal. And there's a coffee pot, and I go, good morning. And he says, that's a big pack. It's a nice day for a walk. And I go, so it is. And then I meet a couple, Una and her friend. All I can think of now is going to laugh now. Baldy are sitting there, and they're asking me about the pack, and I tell them it's the Harp. And they said, tell us more. Let us buy you coffee. Tell us more. Will you sit down for a little bit? So I did. And then two ladies stopped, and they said, oh, hello, is that you, Anja? We saw about you on on Facebook. And I said, oh, really? And I really thought that I recognized one of the women. I thought I knew her. She looked really, really familiar. And she said, no, we're from Rathangan. I had written a message the evening before to the the women's group in Rathangan, because I'd sent them a message, but I'd made a real boo-boo in the message. I'd said in the message, dear men of the women's shed in Rathangan, and I'm thinking, oh, Anja, swipe of the phone is not great. Like, it really isn't great. Oh, man. And they did. What I didn't know is that they had put it up on their page, and they just hadn't heard anything. And these women were saying, like, oh, I can't believe we didn't get to meet you, and here you are, and oh my God. And so we're chatting away, and they go like, can we see the harp? So I took out the harp, I had a little play, and time is ticking in the meantime, yeah. And then Una and Baldy, they go like, can we buy you lunch? Let us buy you lunch. And everybody's giving me fivers and tenners for coffee. And I'm having a really good time. Because it's nice talking, for me, to talk about what I'm doing. It reaffirms all the time what it is that I'm doing. So they buy me croissants and stuff, and then I'm thinking, I really have to go. Because Hazel Hatch is 20 kilometers. And if I don't make it to Hazel Hatch, the distance into the city is too long for the next day. And they're asking me, where are you going to stay? And I say, I don't know. I don't actually know. But worst case scenario, right? I'm going to end up on the side of the canal. I make it to Salons. Like, it's a lovely, lovely walk. There's a good few people out, because it's Saturday. It's Saturday. And I'm walking away, and I stop a few times, and the canal looked really pretty, not very well kept, yeah, at that stretch between Salons and Robertstown. It doesn't look great. Like, it's not very well kept. Like, the sides are kept, but the water itself isn't great. And then you come halfway, and there is a little place, and I met Paul. Paul is from Ballyfermot, and he looked after his sister. And we had a really nice chat. I was telling him about my stick, and he was telling me about himself, and we're sitting in the sunshine, there's kids swimming, and I think I better get going again. And I get up and I walk, and I make it to Salons. Salons all of a sudden is then, I could feel, it's really clear, I'm in the Pale. People are not greeting each other anymore. It's changed. You know, the whole of the southwest, people will greet you when you walk and when you drive by. And the same as you go further up, and once you hit the Pale, all of that changes. I remember that from 12 years ago as well. It changes. People are so busy with being busy that all those things are just not, you know, they're not the most important things. I'm going to check now. Am I actually recording? Yeah. So, yeah. I get to Salons, and there's lots of people there. There's lots of day people there. There's lots of boats. And it's in my head, I'm thinking, will I stay here or will I walk on? Like, and I'm thinking, if I stay, it'll be another 2 days walking. I need to get to Dublin. And the sooner I get to Dublin, the better it is, and I'll sort stuff out then. As I come over the bridge, I smell chips. And I'm looking, is there a chipper? I'm thinking, if there's a chipper, I'm going to have chips. and I don't see a chipper. And then I see a head of a man sitting on a bench. And I said to him, is that you smelling up the place with your chips? Like, and he looks at me and he says, honestly, I wasn't going to eat them. Do you want them? I said, no, I don't want your chips. I'm thinking, yeah, I do. I actually do, because they smelled really good. And he says, go on, like, go on. I know you want some chips, like. So I sit down and I eat his chips. And this man is Kevin. Kevin is a biochemical engineer. And within like minutes, we're having like a really good heart to heart, like a really good heart to heart. And we're chatting away, and it's really, really nice. It's really nice. It feels really familiar and very, very comfortable. And he gets tearful, and I can feel like I'm getting emotional as well. And then he says, do you want to go for a pint? I said, I actually don't know where I'm going to be tonight yet, and I need to walk on. So I'm not sure. Like, I'm in two minds. And he says, well, listen, I'm only going to go for one pint. Will you? You don't have to, of course. Like, and I think, yes, I will go for a pint. And we have like, it was really, really, really nice. And we're there, and we have the pint, and then towards the end, suddenly he gets up and he goes. He says, I have to go. I've been trying to stay in touch with people who I met who've touched me, so I'd given him my number, and I'd asked him, had he walked on the other side? And I told him that the people had said I should worry about walking into Dublin over the canal, and he said, don't, because if you walk, it was Sunday, and he said, don't worry about walking in over the canal, because by Monday morning, whatever trouble is there, it won't be there. When I start walking, I get a message. And in that message, there's a booking reference for a hotel further down the canal. And I'm thinking, okay, so I don't have to stay outside for the night. Somebody is looking after me. And I'm walking in, I'm doing I feel so grateful, like, because I was dreading having to sleep next to the canal, and I'm thinking about the priest that I met the day before, 2 days before in Monasterevin, and how I got rescued at Bog Cottage, and like I've been having so much wonderful experiences. It would be really upsetting to think that I would approach Dublin and all of that would go, like that energy wouldn't be strong enough to carry me into Dublin. And I'm walking, it is getting later. And I'm thinking, I'm wondering how far this still is. And I look at the name and I look up where it is, and I've got another like 8 kilometers to go. And the canal is beautiful, there's swans. And I see my first cygnets, the first cygnets of the year. I've been watching the swans sit on their eggs. There's 2 swans, and they have like little baby swans, little grey, fluffy, wonderful things. I come to the estate, and I come to the entrance, and there's like this big, like a mile long drive. And I walk up the drive, And I come to the end of the drive, and there's two penguins, two guys all decked out, in tuxedos. And they go like, please, ma'am, please let us help you take off your bag. And what are you doing here? And I'm telling them about my trip. And then they go like, you do need to, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here to stay. Like, I'm here for the night. And they go like, well, this kind of place you need to have a booking. And I said, but I do, actually, I do. Like, somebody sent me a reference number, and ma'am, what's your name? I said, my name is Anja Bakker. And I give them the reference number. And they go inside. They come back and I say, please, ma'am, follow me. You have the choice of 2 rooms. And I said, the first room will do me fine. So I'm at the Cliff and Lions. And what I didn't know is they have like a 2-star Michelin restaurant. It is stunning. It's stunning. It's like Arthur Guinness's country, literally. The old Anglo-Irish, wealthy, very, very wealthy, nearly, understated, ostentatious. And there is me and Sean the Harp, like in luxury and big bath and lovely shower, and they come and bring me some food because I arrived late, and obviously I wasn't going to go out for dinner. And I had the best night's sleep, and I wake up and I'm in these beautiful gardens, and I get served breakfast in the orangery next to the trained fig trees going up the walls. Like, it was very, 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 very nice, and I felt very, very, very grateful that somebody somewhere had thought that this is something that I needed to experience. And then and then when you leave, they go, Miss Bakker, have a wonderful, we wish you the best with your trip. Like, it's really, in spaces like that, you can see how comfortable riches is, because it gets reaffirmed all the time, that you're special and that you're good, but in my head I'm going like, all these people are there to like reaffirm the guests feeling good. And I felt as good in the old shipyard with Jerry. I felt very loved there. And the difference between Clifford Lyons and staying at Jerry's was that Jerry and Helen really cared. Whereas in the end of the day, people who work for really expensive establishments, they're being paid to be there. And they're very, very good at their jobs, like very, very good at their jobs. Service industry, if you get people who are really good at their jobs, I know they're passionate, but they don't care for me in the way like people like Jerry care for me, if that makes any sense. So it's a double thing, because it's very attractive luxury. Yeah, it's really, really attractive, but it is an exchange of money. I don't know. I really enjoyed it though. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. Because it was nice, and I smelled so clean. I smelled so clean. Yeah. And it was an intense day that day. I leave Clifford Lyons early enough in the morning on day, that would be day 39, is it? Yeah. And day 39, I walk into Dublin along the canal. It's like from Loch 13 onwards, Loch 12 to Loch 3. The log houses are definitely not inhabited anymore. And the canal looks much cleaner. They were doing work on different parts of it. Waterways Ireland were all there. They were cutting the grass, but it was definitely walking into the city suburbs. It's a different feeling. CCTV cameras everywhere. Burned out patches on the sidewalks from bonfires that they had had. But it was fine. There was nobody there. There was nothing to worry about. And I made it to St. James's Church at around 3 o'clock. And I got my Dublin passport stamped. And then it was time to go and find a place. Now, there was a man called Tom who had said he would love to meet me. So I had been in touch with him, and I went to meet him, and it was great. It was actually great meeting him. And he bought me dinner. We had umi falafel. It was very nice, and I was very hungry again. I can't believe it, like I'm eating people's chips and stuff. Now, that was Monday. So Tuesday I was to go to Blanchardstown. So Monday I still had no bed. But my old study buddy, Amy Ryan, she had said, call me when you know what you're going to do. And I kept thinking, will I just stay in the centre? And nobody has to come and help me out. But once she got a whiff of that I didn't have a bed, she was cute enough to ask me, she said, I'm coming to pick you up. So I went there, and that's when my time off really started, was on Monday evening. It was, I was given wine, and I slept very long. I slept like I would have slept at home, without interruption. It was very good. Then we went out for, they were in Milford, in Dublin. We went out for breakfast in the morning with her dog. She's got this cute little dog called Rollo. Rollo was not having it that I was in his space. Like, he was not a happy bunny that this woman with this harp was there. We went for walks, and then it was time for me to head to Blanchardstown, where I was staying with the presentation nuns again. The nuns in Killavullen had made a few phone calls, and I'd been invited. And Sister Anne in Blanchardstown, she had organised an evening just talking about Camino and talking about pilgrimages. And I have to say, I've got a real fondness for presentation sisters. They're an extraordinary order. Like, they work in the community. It's all about education. It's all about, caring for the community, inclusivity. It is wonderful, wonderful to see. We had a great evening in the chapel at the St. Kieran's Church, I believe, in Blanchardstown. And I did a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking. I talked a little bit about the previous trips, and about the trips, and about trust, and about evil, and about some of the stories, and the walking into Dublin, and fear, and pilgrimage, the way I experience it, all the questions that I have, and my issues with, what it meant personally for me to walk, the things I found out about myself, the issues I seem to have that I didn't even know about, things that got resolved without me even knowing about it, just through walking and engaging, and the desire that I have to walk these 3 big ones. It was a lot of talking. I was very tired. And then yesterday, I was supposed to come to Baltinglass to meet with my friend Eamon, because Eamon moved here a good few months ago, and I still hadn't visited him. So his partner came to pick me up, but it was in Terranure, so I left Blanchardstown early enough because I thought I'll walk part of the way. So I walked up to the Phoenix Park and part of the Phoenix Park, and then I thought, bright idea. They have these like bleeper bicycles, and there is me, with the harp and my walking stick on the bicycle because I was running out of time. So I did a bit of cycling. I hadn't cycled in ages. But yeah, like you download an app and then they charge you like €1 for unlocking the bike, and then it is like 2 cents per minute and 1 cent for so many minutes, and then 1 cent thereafter. And for 187, I made it from one end of Dublin to the other end of Dublin, and then I had to cycle uphill, and I was like, no, I'll walk the rest of the way. So I arrived literally like 2 minutes after I was supposed to be there, and we drove to Baltinglass. And yesterday evening we went to the pub, and man, I drank too much. Like, I definitely drank too much. But I have to go back. I was going to stay here for the day and rest, but I have to go back to Dublin because I have an invitation to go to the Dutch embassy. So I'm going to meet the Ambassador Palm of the embassy to the Netherlands. And then tomorrow morning, I am playing in St. Michael's in Baldoyle, which is a school for severely handicapped children. So tonight I will be staying with the presentation sisters again. They said I could come back and stay for another night, which is very, very, very kind. And I'll go to Baldoyle now, and I've been waiting. Like my friend Mick from back home, he's been talking to different trucking companies to see can they get me on a ferry to Liverpool. Now this morning I checked as well. Like there is afternoon ferries, there's morning ferries. It's actually not that crazy expensive. It's €38. It'd be cheaper to fly actually. So, but I really don't want to go anywhere near Dublin Airport. It is the mankiest airport ever. Like, I don't know. Honestly, that's not the type of calling cart you want to leave for tourists to arrive into the country. It is horrible. And I was talking to people there about arriving back into Dublin, and they were saying the same. Like, it's shameful. It is shameful. I don't know what tourists think when they arrive, because like the toilets are disgusting. Everything is dirty. You see guys cleaning, but I don't know. It's just not clean. It's horrible always. Last time I was there, I wouldn't even buy a cup of coffee because it was just like manky. Everything. Ooh. So I'm thinking I could fly to Liverpool, walk into Liverpool town for €14. It would cost me 38 to €44 to go over by boat. It would be good to go by truck, but I'll wait and I'll see, and if nothing turns up, then I'll make a decision tomorrow morning. I'll go early to Ballydoyle and I'll pack my whole pack and I'll take the whole thing with me, and I could be on the boat by 2:30. Now my friend Marty Pants, is coming down as well to say goodbye to me. I don't know if he is coming with me to Liverpool or not. I think initially that was the idea, but I'm not sure if he can. And I have to get in touch with people in Liverpool who I know to sort out, is there a bed for me and what would be a good time to arrive. I wanted to rest a little bit. I haven't really rested yet, and I'm behind on social media as well. I would like to do a bit of work on that. I'll just go back to Blanchardstown in the afternoon, and once I'm done on Marion Road, and I'll just try and sleep a bit more, sleep and rest and do social media, and then get on with it. This is the end of my leg in Dublin. These are just wrapping up the last bits. I have to dig out my passport. And once I cross the Irish Sea, it'll be much harder to get on a bus to go back home. And the time that I've been walking here, I made it within 40 days. The time that I've been walking here has been very, very good. And I feel really, really, really blessed that I can call Ireland my home. I know I sound like I have a lot of criticism. There is definitely stuff that we can improve. Definitely within the way we treat people in Ireland. But this is the funny thing, is that is all coming from the Pale and politics and, highly privileged people in highly privileged positions who are not treating their own people right. They should be representing the people of Ireland. The people of Ireland I have met are genuinely amazing people, every single one of them. All these people have helped me to get where I am now. And they're willing to put up like with a crazy Dutch woman carrying around a harp to try and figure out what is right and what is wrong. My thing about, open heart, open mind. If it's important, open the road before me and I will walk it. I can and I will walk to Jerusalem. I love the world that I live in. I love the people that I meet. But humanity, it's just such a disgrace. And it's perpetuated by people who have more than other people. It just seems really wrong. I'm looking at it, I'm trying to be an objective witness to what I see. And what I see is a lot of injustice, a lot of suffering for no other reason than that the system doesn't see everybody equally. I've met a lot of people who were not well. There's a lot of people that are ill. I met a woman when I left Clifford Lyons. I met a woman walking and she was all wrapped up in scarves and shawls, and she had pneumonia and she had to go into the bonds, and all she really wanted was to walk Camino, and she was so happy to see me and to have that chat. There is a lot of people really suffering out there because they're not being looked after, and they're not only not being, they're not being looked after because the services aren't there. These are people who have paid their dues in society and they're not being looked after. The nurse, I understand if people take a funny look at somebody like me, with the art, and although, art is the measure of how well developed the society is. But I would like to see people who are ill looked after. I would like to see that, people feel that there is hope, that there is place for them in this world. And that's not what I've seen. A lot of people only just get by, and it's not that they just get by because they're not trying. My friend, she lives in an apartment in Dublin. Both of them work. It's 2,000 a month. That's a lovely apartment, but it's not worth 2,000 a month. If they would want to buy it, it's 500,000. I mean, she is 12, 13 years younger than I am. They can't, there's lots of stuff they have to put on hold. They have to put their lives on hold because of the jobs that they have in a city that is too expensive. There is injustice in there, The nurse who works with people who really need him to be there, and he ends up being homeless because he doesn't make enough money to actually rent an apartment. He was staying with somebody else and it went, and then there was nothing. We need to do something about that. I can't, but surely we need to do something about that. Now, I'm going to go back to Dublin. I'm going to go get ready. And yeah, I will talk to you soon. I'm Anja. There is Sean the Harp. Sean the Harp is there. And we'll talk really soon. Thank you for being here with me. Day 41, from here to Jerusalem.